Let me ask you something. When was the last time a man truly let you see him? Not the polite version, not the charming version, but the quiet man underneath, the one who doesn't talk about what he needs because he was never taught how. I'm Dr. Elena, and for decades I've listened to men, especially older men, say the same sentence in different ways. I just don't feel understood anymore. And here's the painful truth most women over 60 have never been told. Men don't leave because love is gone. They leave because something essential is missing, and they don't know how to ask for it. Many women believe that with age, men become emotionally distant, uninterested in romance, or set in their ways. But what I've seen, again and again, is something very different. Older men are not emotionally empty. They are emotionally exhausted. They've spent a lifetime being strong, being reliable, being the one who holds everything together. And somewhere along the way, they learned that their deeper needs were inconvenient, misunderstood, or simply ignored. So they went quiet. And women, good, loving women, often misread that silence. They try harder, they give more, they talk more, they fix more. Yet the distance grows. If you've ever thought, I did everything right, so why does he feel so far away? You are not wrong. You were simply never given the full picture. Because here's what no one tells you. Older men are not craving more romance. They are craving something far more basic and far more powerful. They want to feel respected without being managed, safe without being judged, wanted without being needed. And when those needs go unmet, even a good relationship can slowly unravel, not in anger, but in quiet withdrawal. Today, I'm going to reveal the 3 desperate needs men have in relationships, needs so rarely understood that when a woman finally sees them, she begins to understand not just men, but why past relationships felt confusing, draining, or unfinished. Stay with me, because one of these may change how you see every relationship you've ever had, and the one you still hope for. This may be difficult to hear, but it's one of the most important truths about men, especially older men. A man can feel loved and still feel deeply unhappy if he does not feel respected. Many women are stunned by this because women are taught that love is the highest currency in a relationship. So they give affection, they give loyalty, they give care, patience, and forgiveness. And yet, the man still seems distant. Here's why. For men who grew up in an earlier generation, respect is not about ego, it's about identity. An older man's sense of self is closely tied to his competence, his judgment, his ability to contribute. When that sense is quietly undermined, even unintentionally, he doesn't argue, he withdraws. Respect to a man sounds like, I trust your perspective. I value your experience. I don't need to correct you to feel safe. Disrespect doesn't always look like insults. In fact, it rarely does. It often shows up as constantly correcting small details, offering advice when he didn't ask, reframing his decisions as mistakes, speaking to him like he needs managing. Many women do this out of love, out of habit, out of a desire to help. But what a man hears is, you don't trust me. And after 60, men are especially sensitive to this because they are already fighting a quiet fear of becoming irrelevant. They notice when their opinions are dismissed. They feel it when their contributions are minimized. They internalize it when their role shrinks. And they don't complain because complaining feels weak. Instead, they emotionally step back. This is why you may see a man become quieter over time, less expressive, less engaged. Not because he stopped caring, but because he stopped feeling valued. Now here's the part most women find relieving. Respect does not mean silence, it does not mean submission, and it does not mean lowering your standards. It means choosing how you express yourself. It means asking instead of instructing, appreciating instead of correcting, trusting instead of monitoring. A respected man feels safe to stay present. A disrespected man feels safest pulling away. And when a man feels respected, something remarkable happens. He becomes more open, more affectionate, more emotionally available, because respect tells him, you still matter. And for an older man, that message is everything. And if you think respect alone is enough, wait until you hear the next need, the one that determines whether he ever truly opens his heart. If respect helps a man stand tall, emotional safety is what allows him to sit down and finally rest. This is one of the most misunderstood needs in relationships, especially with older men. Many women believe that men don't open up because they won't. The truth is far more tender. Most men don't open up because they learned it wasn't safe to do so. Men in their 60s and beyond grew up in a world that rewarded strength and punished vulnerability. They were taught, directly or indirectly, that emotions were problems to be solved, not experiences to be shared. So when a man finally considers opening up, he is taking a risk. And here's what often happens, without anyone meaning harm. He shares something difficult, a fear, a regret, a frustration, and the woman he trusts responds by offering immediate advice, minimizing the issue, comparing it to something worse, reframing his decisions as mistakes, or explaining why he shouldn't feel that way. Again, this usually comes from care, from a desire to help. But what a man hears is, your feelings are inconvenient, or worse, your feelings are wrong. After that, he learns the lesson quickly. He goes quiet. Emotional safety to a man means, when I speak, I will not be judged, fixed, or dismissed. It means being allowed to feel unsure without being seen as weak. It means expressing frustration without being labeled negative. It means admitting fear without losing dignity. Older men are especially careful here because they have fewer emotional reserves. They are not looking for emotional excavation. They are looking for acceptance. And here is something deeply important. Creating emotional safety does not require you to carry his emotions. It requires you to hold space. Sometimes the most powerful response is, that sounds really heavy. I can see why that affected you. Thank you for trusting me with that. No fixing, no reframing, no lesson, just presence. When a man feels emotionally safe, something changes immediately. He talks more, not less. He becomes more expressive, not withdrawn. He begins to trust, not retreat. And over time, that bond becomes stronger than excitement or romance. Because emotional safety says, you don't have to perform here. You don't have to be strong all the time. You are allowed to be human. For a man who has spent decades guarding himself, this feels like a relief. And here is the quiet truth most women don't realize. The man who feels emotionally safe with you is the man who stays. Not because he's dependent, but because he's finally at peace. And once a man feels safe and respected, there is one more need that determines whether he feels truly chosen or quietly replaceable. This is where many loving relationships quietly lose their spark, not because affection disappears, but because desire is replaced by duty. Here's a truth most older men will never say out loud. Being needed can feel heavy. Being wanted feels alive. After 60, many men are still useful. They still help. They still provide. They still show up. But usefulness is not the same as being chosen. When a man feels needed, he feels responsible. When he feels wanted, he feels seen. Older men are especially sensitive to this distinction because life has already placed them in the role of caretaker, problem solver, or support system for decades. So when love starts to feel like obligation, when you need him to fix this, when you rely on him to handle that, when appreciation turns into expectation, something inside him quietly dims. He may not complain, he may not even recognize it consciously, but he starts to wonder, if I couldn't do these things anymore, would she still choose me? That question matters more to an older man than romance ever could. Women often assume desire fades with age, but desire doesn't disappear, it changes language. Older men don't need constant reassurance, they need intentional signals. A look that lingers, a hand placed without reason, a compliment that isn't about usefulness, but about presence. I love how calm you make me feel. I enjoy being close to you. I like who you are. These words tell a man, you are wanted for you, not for what you provide. And here's where many women unknowingly pull away from desire. They stop expressing attraction because they assume it's understood. They stop initiating closeness because they don't want to seem needy. They stop verbalizing appreciation because life feels settled. But to a man, silence often sounds like indifference, especially in later years when invisibility becomes a quiet fear. Older men rarely worry about being left for someone younger. They worry about being left emotionally while still standing right there. When a man feels wanted, he softens. He becomes playful again. He invests emotionally, not out of obligation, but choice. And no, this is not about constant passion or performance. It's about affirmation. It's about reminding him, I enjoy you. I desire your presence. I choose you, not because I need you, but because I want you. That message restores dignity, and dignity is what keeps a man emotionally engaged long after excitement fades. And once a man feels respected, emotionally safe, and genuinely wanted, there is one final need that determines whether he feels at peace or perpetually on edge in the relationship. As men grow older, their priorities shift in a very quiet but profound way. What once felt exciting, debate, challenge, emotional intensity, often begins to feel exhausting. And what begins to matter most is peace. This is where many relationships unintentionally become draining, even when love is present. Women are natural processors. They talk things through, they analyze, they revisit concerns to feel understood and connected. Men, especially older men, process differently. After decades of responsibility, work stress, family obligations, health concerns, financial pressures, many men are emotionally tired, not depressed, not disengaged, just tired. So when every interaction begins to feel like a discussion, a concern, or a problem to solve, something inside him starts to brace. He may think, here we go again. I don't have the energy for this. And instead of leaning in, he pulls back, not because he doesn't care, but because he's protecting what little emotional calm he has left. This does not mean men want avoidance or silence. It means they want balance. They want to know that time together doesn't always require emotional labor. Peace, to a man, feels like lightness, acceptance, emotional steadiness, predictability without boredom. A peaceful woman feels safe, not because she never speaks up, but because she knows when to pause, when to soften, and when to let things be. Many women worry that choosing peace means suppressing themselves. It does not. It means choosing timing and tone with intention. It means asking yourself, is this something that needs to be resolved right now? Is this about connection or control? Can this wait? When a woman brings calm into a relationship, a man relaxes. He becomes more generous emotionally, more present, more willing to engage because he doesn't feel constantly on edge. Older men, in particular, crave this because life already brings enough uncertainty. They are navigating physical changes, shifts in independence, concerns about legacy and purpose. The last thing they want is to feel like home is another place they have to defend themselves. Peace does not mean ignoring issues forever. It means addressing them without turning the relationship into a battleground. Simple shifts matter. Sharing appreciation before raising concerns, choosing curiosity instead of accusation, letting small things stay small. When peace becomes the foundation, trust deepens. A man who feels peace with you doesn't rush away. He lingers. He stays. Because peace tells him, with you, I can rest. And for an older man, rest is not laziness, it is survival. And when a man feels peace in your presence, there is one final need that determines whether he feels valued for who he is now or fears becoming invisible. This final need is the quietest one, but it may be the most powerful of all. As men grow older, they carry something they rarely talk about: the fear of becoming invisible. Not unloved, not abandoned, invisible. Many older men have spent a lifetime being defined by what they did, their career, their strength, their productivity, their ability to provide. And as time passes, those markers naturally change. He may be retired, slower, less physically strong, less certain of his place in the world. What he longs for now is not admiration for his past, but acceptance in the present. Yet this is where many women, without realizing it, unintentionally hurt the men they love. It happens when stories are told about who he used to be. Comparisons are made to younger men, to the past, to others. Suggestions constantly imply improvement or correction. His limitations are highlighted more than his presence. Even gentle comments can land heavily. You used to have so much energy. You don't do that like you used to. You've changed. To a man already grappling with aging, these words feel like confirmation of his deepest fear. What he needs instead is this message: you matter to me as you are right now. Valuing a man in the present looks like enjoying his company without agenda, acknowledging his wisdom, not just his achievements, letting him be enough without pushing him to prove it. Older men are not trying to relive their glory years. They are trying to find meaning where they stand today. And when a man feels valued today, is a man who stays emotionally invested. Because value answers the question every older man carries quietly: am I still enough? And when the answer is yes, spoken through actions, tone, and acceptance, he doesn't need reassurance. He feels it. This is why some men remain deeply bonded well into their later years, not because everything is perfect, but because they feel seen, respected, and appreciated in the moment they are living. And now that you understand what men truly need, the most important question becomes, what will you do differently from here on? Before you leave, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not out of time. If any part of this message touched something deep inside you, that's not an accident. It means you're ready to stop guessing, ready to stop repeating patterns that never quite worked, and ready to build connection with clarity instead of confusion. But understanding alone isn't enough. What changes relationships is what you choose to do next. So here's my invitation to you. Subscribe now, because every week I share honest, grounded guidance about love, connection, and emotional intelligence after 60, without games, without manipulation, and without unrealistic promises. Like this video so it reaches other women who may be silently wondering why love feels harder than it should. Leave a comment below, even something simple like, "I'm ready," because when you speak, you commit to yourself. And if you know a woman who keeps saying, "I just don't understand men anymore," share this with her, not to fix her, but to remind her she's not alone. I'm Dr. Elena, and I believe this stage of life holds the deepest kind of love, the kind built on respect, peace, and genuine understanding. Stay with me. Your next chapter deserves intention, not uncertainty.